Hey everybody, welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Krams are here. Replacements week rolling on. Side 3 today, we're going to talk about the best 3 album runs by a band. The replacements, of course, we're talking about Let It Be, Tim, and Please to Meet Me, even though that's not how I rank them. I think that is the general consensus of their 3 best in a row. So that's what we're going to do. Anything you want to say before we get into our picks?
I tried to keep this as tight as I could for years. Like the closer it was, like if you do an album 77, 78, 79, like that's more impressive to me than taking 5 years off. And like you could put Fiona Apple on there with like a 3 album run, but you're spanning 14 years or whatever. So I tried to avoid those and keep mine really timelined, concise.
Yeah, for me, like 3 album runs, that's almost too easy. So I had to like think of okay, what's really at the top. Uh, so it's basically all 70s. So I don't even know why we'd bother going into another decade for me, but I have like 6 or 7 3 album runs where it's like tens, 5 stars across the board. So I'll just pick my best for this.
If I look at like any band that I like a lot, they have 3 albums in a row that I like. So 3 wasn't that hard to come up with. But yeah, let's see what you got.
I tried to get a little weirder with mine. So I'm going to start with Flaming Lips, coming with Soft Bulletin, Yoshimi Battles Pink Robots, and then At War with the Mystics over like a 6-year span. Pretty cool. That's definitely their best crop of albums until last year. For me, I'm also going to go with one I know Jason won't talk about, so I will. Ryan Adams, my favorite 3 album run of his is from 03 to 05 with Rock and Roll, Love as Hell, and Cold Roses. Also throwing in there My Morning Jacket and probably the opposite 3 that Joe would pick, but it's cool. I mean, I've got At Dawn and then It Still Moves in Z, and I especially love just how that kind of evolved their sound from the really hollowed out, reverb heavy, lonesome country folk to like the more kind of psychedelic, experimental, straight indie rock style on Z. I'm gonna go with The Cure, Head on the Door, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, and Disintegration. I think that's pretty strong. And what is that, like a 4-year period or so, 5 years? Pretty good. And then finally, one of my all-time favorite 3 album runs is going to be, I think, did they all win? No, all nominated. 2 of them won for Animal Collective with Feels in 05, Strawberry Jam in 07, and Post Merriweather Pavilion in 09. All 5 stars. Fantastic for me. Just great eras for all these artists.
I got a lot written here, so I'm surprised Cram did not say this one. Funeral, Neon Bible, and the Suburbs by Arcade Fire for a more recent one anyways. I think that's a good one.
I thought about it.
What?
I thought about it.
I don't know. I don't want to steal Joe's. There's some here that I think Joe's probably going to have. This might be one of them, but Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures, and Signals from Rush, kicking off the 80s, 80, 81, and 82. Let's see. I'll also go with, this is a personal one. Not everyone's going to agree with this, but I've got Burn, Stormbringer, and Come Taste the Band by Deep Purple. I think with Ian Gillan, they were going like every other record being great. In Rock's awesome, Fireball not as good, Machine Head's awesome, Who Do We Think We Are not as good. But when they got into that Mark III lineup, I love all those records. Bob Dylan, Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, and Blonde on Blonde. Hard to top that. Let's go with, for my last one, my old standby, Todd Rundgren, Ballad of Todd Rundgren, Something Anything, and Wizard of True Star. Awesome stuff. Those, I'll go with that for now.
Way to bring up Todd Rundgren. It's been a while. People have been waiting for the greatest hits of Jason. Todd Rundgren discussions. We need it more often.
They prep with a shot before the video, and then they never get to take it. So.
All right. Well, for my lists, there's like 4 or 5 70s artists that you could make 3 album runs in like 5 different ways. Like it's almost unfair. So I'm trying to eschew some of those 70s artists. I'll kick it off with Pearl Jam. 10 versus Vitology would be my cream of the crop. All 5 stars or close to it. Maybe I didn't have Vitology at 5 stars, but definitely have 10 and versus there. Also on my list, we'll do another non-70s one. We'll do Kanye. You could go at his couple different ways. You could start with his second album, Late Registration, and go to 808s and Heartbreak. You could do My Beautiful Twisted Fantasy and Yeezus and Graduation. But I think my favorite run would probably be his first 3 albums. Yeah, College Dropout to College Dropout, Late Registration. I don't know why I can never remember. College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation will be my cream of the crop there. Now let's get into the 70s. I'm going to do Zeppelin, 4, Houses of the Holy, Physical Graffiti. All perfect scores there. And one where there's just so many combinations you could do. Elton John. I'm going to do Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Caribou, and Captain Fantastic is my 3, but you could do a whole bunch of variations on that, starting with like Honky Chateau and Don't Shoot Me and Yellow Brick Road, or there's just so many. He had like 8 in a row that are all pretty spectacular. But number 1 though, and this is for reals, will be Stevie Wonder. I'm going to go with Talking Book, Intervisions, and Fulfilling. This is First Finale is my 3 favorites, and you could run it into Songs in the Key of Life or take it back to Music of My Mind as well. So there's a pretty solid 5-album run in there. So you can go whichever way you please, but I'm going to go with my 72 winner Talking Book into the very underrated Fulfilling. This is First Finale.
You guys got any more?
Yeah, there's a ton. Everybody in the 70s. I mean, you can do Sabbath. A little band called the Beatles had 3 in a row. I'm sure were pretty good. For me, obvious ones personally, Tommy, Who's Next, Quadrophenia, Stones with Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street. Thought Joe would go Steely Dan in there. You could do about 9 different Bob Dylan variations, Bowie, Joni Mitchell. It's the people in the comments keep acting like because we're in albums of the year talking high praise for these albums, like we've somehow forgotten the 70s existed. Like we can't beat it. How much more can we talk about how the 70s are the best by a long shot? Like it's the best. 68 to like 79 for me is the best, or 67. Like, so let's just make that clear. There's no beating it, but you can also like other things.
I'll throw out a couple more. Talking Heads, Fear of Music, Remain in Light, Speaking in Tongues. I think a super underrated run is ELO's. They had like 8 in a row from On the Third Day, El Dorado, Face the Music, New World Record, Out of the Blue, Discovery in Time. Just any order, any 3 of those in a row are all great. Elvis Costello probably would go this year's model, Armed Forces, Get Happy. Although I wish I could get Trust in there instead of Get Happy, but it doesn't work that way. Wilco, I'd probably go Yankee Hotel, Ghost is Born, Sky Blue Sky. I'm sure Cram would go Summer Teeth, Yankee Hotel, Ghost is Born.
And Joe wouldn't go at all.
Mott the Hoople, All the Young Dudes, Mott the Hoople. You said Bowie. There's a couple different of his you could go with. And last one I'll throw out there is Supertramp. The 4-album run, Crime of the Century, Crisis What Crisis, Even in the Quietest Moments, and Breakfast in America.
What about Walk On, Corporate America, and Life, Love, and Hope as arguably the worst 3-album run of all time?
That's a good topic. That's a whole other video, but I can't think of anything that would top that.
Because anyone in their right mind would have stopped after Corporate America, but it's all good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many to list. I'll throw a couple more out there. You got Off the Wall, Thriller, Dangerous. Michael Jackson, even though they're like 10 years apart, dude couldn't get his
Bad.
stuff together.
Bad, not
What?
good.
Oh yeah, sorry. Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. 10 years apart, whatever. Still counts. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals. You could do that a whole bunch of different ways, depending on your, favorite Pink Floyd album. We had a lot of people throwing in like, what's the one before Dark Side? Obscured by Clouds and Metal and
Oh yeah, metal is awesome. I love it.
yeah, you can go just so many ways with these 70s artists. It's not fair.
All right, so that is a lot of them, but I'm sure there's more, and you can leave those down in the comments. Love to see what you think. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, hit the bell for notifications, check the description for links to all of our social media accounts, follow us there, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.